I'm just having a sleepy day.
Well, welcome to life, I guess. When's the last time you didn't have a sleepy day?
I don't know. Some days I'm more like tired than others.
Sure. But I think that like hits a point around 30 when your baseline existence is just tired.
That's true.
Yeah, kids, something to look forward to. Hello and welcome to Book Retorts. I'm Sam.
I'm Danielle.
And this is the podcast about sharing your weird media finds with your friends who don't know what you're talking about.
Hurrah!
Danielle, let me ask you a question.
I don't remember Hyperion. In fact, I was thinking earlier when I was at work.
This isn't about Hyperion.
No, I know, but I was thinking earlier at work. I was thinking, oh my gosh, are we doing Hyperion? Because I forgot that we had finished the last round. And I was like, what happened in Hyperion? And I was panicking a little because I literally could not remember a single thing that happened. I was like, how long ago was that? And now I just realized as he started to introduce, I was like, wait, we didn't do Hyperion last time. We did the weird little armadillo things that are not the pangolins.
The pangolins, yes. Panic, subside, please.
It was like a whole thing.
Yeah, wow. We'll get there, and it'll be fun to see you try to recall Hyperion after all that, but...
Yeah, that's not happening. Anyway, what are we doing today, Sam? What were we going to say before I so rudely interrupted with Hyperion?
No, I think that was worth sharing, and I applaud you for being so vulnerable in that moment.
Our normal listeners know that I have no ability to remember from what feels like maybe week to week to you all, but is literally 6 weeks later.
Danielle, please, I'll give you carte blanche between now and when we next do Hyperion, which you don't know when that is, but, it'll be a surprise for you. I'm going to give you carte blanche to re-listen to any of those episodes if you want to brush up, because I know you will not do that.
I will not do that, and what's even the point in that? That's half of the fun of this is just us trying to remember what the person said last time.
That's true. All right, so I was going to ask you at the beginning here, do you remember the 1999 Brendan Fraser film, Inspector Gadget?
He was in Inspector Gadget? I thought that was Matthew Broderick.
I'm sorry, you're right, Matthew Broderick, my mistake.
Do not confuse me with Brendan Fraser movies. Can you imagine Brendan Fraser as Inspector Gadget? That would have been weird.
Yeah, Matthew Broderick, sorry, I meant Matthew Broderick. I get them mixed up all the time because they have that same era for me.
What?
Look, Danielle, I don't need any lip from you about mixing people up.
Those two, though?
As I watched their movies around the same time. They're just kind of like those two, dark-haired actors who are charming in similar movies.
Wow, they're vastly different. You might get some hate mail.
That's fine.
Do I remember
you
it?
You rate me and Danielle?
Maybe.
They're both great. Who said anything bad about them? I just sometimes mix up their names.
Yes, I remember that it exists. Yes.
Did you know there was a sequel in 2003 with French Stewart?
I did not. Because why?
Well, get ready!
There be? What was the first one about?
I don't remember, Danielle, and I did not bother to read up on it.
Who played Penny, or whatever her name is? Is it Penny?
In the first one? I don't remember. Does not matter. I'm sure all the actors are different in the second one because they replaced Inspector Gadget. You can go back and rewatch the Matthew Broderick film on your own time. For now, we need to talk about the Inspector Gadget 2 movie, direct-to-VHS sequel. Remember VHSs? They were still a thing.
I certainly do.
Starring French Stewart as Inspector Gadget.
Who's playing Penny?
I don't know. Some girl.
Who plays Dr. Claw? Who plays the cat?
Why are you even asking these questions?
Dr. Claw's cat. We looked up the cat's name one day. What was the name?
It was Mad Cat.
Mad Cat?
Mad Cat, yeah, because Mad is his evil organization.
Oh, okay. Sure. Whatever.
Again, it wasn't a good name. That's why we forgot it in the first place.
All right. Sorry. We're already deeply sidetracked by this.
You gotta worry less about the actors and more about the plot here.
Matthew Broderick, not Matthew Broderick.
It's French Stewart.
Yeah. I only vaguely remember who that is.
Oh, you're mad at me for not knowing, for mixing up Matthew Broderick and Brendan Fraser.
Much more famous than French Stewart.
And you don't remember who French Stewart is. Oh, Danielle. Now you know. I think I feel vindicated.
I don't think you should. I suspect a lot of our listeners don't know who French Stewart is.
That's too bad, Danielle. You don't get to tell me how to feel.
All All right, what happens in Inspector Gadget to Inspector
Well,
Boogaloo?
look at this description, Danielle, and you can tell me.
City officials are moving to replace human robot hybrid Inspector Gadget. He's
Hard
a
word there.
human robot hybrid. I guess
Well,
he sort
he's
of
certainly
is.
not all human. He's not all
Yeah,
human,
but I just
right?
thought he was more human than robot.
Well, you think like a man who has his head come up on a thing and his arms extended, like mostly human.
I think I watched as a child and therefore never
And like
questioned
a hammer
that it
comes
was-
out of his head
I
and he's
never
mostly
questioned
human.
it. I never questioned that as a kid and then didn't watch it
He's
as much
a
as an adult.
cyborg, Danielle. That's what they
Okay.
prefer to be called, I believe.
Anyway, they're going to replace Inspector Gadget, French Stewart, with an updated model, the comely G2, Elaine Hendricks. Like her predecessor, the new inspector must contain master criminal Claw, Tony Martin, who, having busted out of prison, wants to pull off a big gold heist. He was in prison? Did they actually catch Dr. Claw?
Danielle, we'll get into all of this.
Young Penny, Caitlin Walks?
There you go. There's your answer.
Walks. Wachs. Also starts shadowing Claw. What? And soon she forms a crime-fighting... Oh, she, like, shadows him, like, follows him, not, like,
No,
becomes
she's not like
Dr.
interning
Claw.
for Dr. Claw.
I was like, what is happening?
She's gone to the dark side. That'd be a much better movie if, like, Penny was tempted by Dr. Like, come to the dark side, Penny. Join my crime ring.
I don't know what happened with Matthew Broderick in the first one. I don't remember.
Neither do I, Danielle.
So anyway, Penny soon forms a crime-fighting trio with her gadget, and G2. Claw had better watch his back. What happened to the cat during all of this?
It's a cat, Danielle. It exists.
Just who was taking care of it while Claw was in jail?
Really? We're not even started the movie and you're asking that kind of question. This is going to be a very long night.
It's throwing me off that they want to replace Gadget to begin with. It seems wrong.
You have no idea how wrong this is about to get.
All right, carry on.
So, we open by zooming out on a large smiling woman's mouth. One of the teeth opens and French Stewart pokes his head out.
No.
Yes?
No.
As we zoom up further, we see this is the billboard. French Stewart is shown to be sitting in a car behind the billboard like, a speed trap. His head horrifically sneaking around to peer out the billboard in various places.
Okay.
He laments that it's too quiet. So apparently, this is a direct sequel to the previous movie where they had captured Claw at the end of the first movie, I think. I'm assuming, because I do not remember.
Otherwise, what's the point of the story?
His dog, Brain, is also in the car because apparently you bring a dog on a speed trap. Yep. Remember Brain?
Can you send me a picture of French Stewart? What does French Stewart look like? Or as Gadget? I want to be able to envision this.
Okay, well, he's kind of squinty. Did you ever see Third Rock from the Sun?
Yes. Oh,
yeah.
What's his face?
Yeah, that one, the brother.
Who's kind of skinny.
Yeah.
And tallish.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I know who that is.
Yeah, you do.
You're right, he is squinty.
That's what he does. That's like his signature thing is he squints a lot.
I could see him as Gadget. Sure.
He makes a pretty good Gadget. I'm not going to lie. I think he is very charming. We've said a lot of times, Danielle, that just because a movie is weird does not mean it's bad.
It's true.
I'm not sure this movie isn't bad, even though it is very weird. But I also realize this is a movie for like 6-year-olds. So I mean, it's got a lot of leeway from it. It's
That's
fine.
That's your entire thing. Like, you love movies for 6-year-olds.
I like you for like 10-year-olds, Danielle. Please give me a little credit. Like, this ain't no Pixar is what I'm saying, but if you gotta distract your kid for 90 minutes, this is a fine movie to do it with. It had some fun things in it.
Fabulous. So, poking his head through billboards.
Right. With his dog in the car, because, like I said, because you want to bring your dog on a police speed trap, I guess. You gotta do something with them.
Yeah, then you can stick the dog on them.
Yeah, exactly. Also, his car fell asleep because it's a smart car with a robot brain.
Okay.
Like, think of a Knight Rider.
It just snoozes.
So, but it constantly falls asleep. Yeah. So Gadget chides at that, hey, they're on a stakeout. And they're not on the stakeout, they're on a speed trap, but semantics. And the car exposits that since they locked up Claw, all of the crooks are too scared to show themselves in Riverton.
I'm pretty sure that's not how that works.
Well, apparently it is. There's no crime left in Riverton. Everyone's in prison because Inspector Gadget's too good at his job. He's like Batman if Batman succeeded.
Yeah, that's sad for Batman.
How much he's not Inspector Gadget?
Yeah, apparently.
Also, like, apparently the rest of the world can just go screw itself. Like, Riverton's safe, everywhere else, We only have one Inspector Gadget. We can't make more. So, unless we can protect this one city and the whole rest of the world is just on its own. Who cares?
But apparently they can make more. They're going to model him.
Oh, boy, Danielle. Oof. So I don't remember, again, from the first movie, if Inspector Gadget was like a RoboCop situation where they took someone who was badly injured in an accident and rebuilt them. I think that's what happened.
Is there a backstory to Gadget?
There is in that first movie, and I think he was like $6 million.
I do not remember that movie.
No, I think he was $6 million man. I remember them like stuffing hoses and goop into him and like installing his weird stuff. Oh, it was a crazy movie. I should have done that one too. Maybe I'll do that one later and do them all out of order, just for fun. Like with the Cinderella movies.
Yeah, it would be the first time we've gone backwards.
Yeah, anyway, wild movie. But again, I don't know how this happened. I'm going to assume it was a $6 million man situation because, I don't know, that just satisfies me more.
I need to rewatch that.
No, please don't. I need a movie for the show, Danielle.
But now I want to.
Well, why don't you watch this one first and then decide if you want to go watch that one?
Okay.
Gadget continues his paranoid rant about how, that's what the criminals want you to think. It's when it's quietest. That's just before they strike. And then he sees an old lady in a car slowly driving towards them. Gadget attempts to go his radar gun, and a series of extremely cartoonish gadgets, they look like they were kind of Who Framed Roger Rabbit, basically, but CG, bad CG. So a hand beater pops out of his body and some other things pop out. It's not the radar gun though, and he's very sad about that.
Is he failing? Is that why he's getting replaced?
Pretty much. Anyway, the lady is driving down the highway, which has a posted speed limit of 25 miles an hour. Which
highway?
Is insane for a stretch of empty rural highway leading towards the city.
I don't think that's how that works.
But apparently it's 25 miles per hour, which is nonsense.
I know that's not standard law anywhere.
Nope. And no one would obey it anyway because who cares?
Yeah, they'd 100% go 50 miles an hour through there easily.
She, however, is going 25.3 miles an hour, so Gadget initiates an over-the-top chase where a massive physics-defying jet turbine comes out of the trunk of his car. He blasts right past the old lady, then activates his car's parachute, and then the dog, which is in the car still, for some reason, covers its eyes with its paws. But not in a cute way where a dog puts its head down and covers its eyes. It lifts its paws up and puts them palms out. And it looks like someone's holding a pair of fake dog arms over the dog's eyes. And it is horrific. I do not like that at all. I hated that. I hated that effect. Worst thing in the movie.
There's no way you'd have to pay a ticket for going 25.3 miles per hour, just so you know.
It goes crazier. The car comes to a stop and quips. The car is very quippy and it's voiced by D.L. Hughley and quips nonstop. I will spare you most of it because it's mostly just oh, that's right kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So you're welcome.
Thanks.
Gadget gets out of the car and walks towards the old lady still puttering down the road. He stops her and tells her it's illegal to drag race on public roads, which, what? And when he asks to see her license, she realizes she left it at home. So he attempts to cuff her, but instead of going his cuffs, he goes spring shoes and slams her to the ground.
Wouldn't you actually cuff somebody for not having a license?
Well, he certainly tries.
Is that a thing? Don't they just write you a ticket and send you on your way?
You may realize that Inspector Gadget is a symptom of over-policing. Yes. And the militarization of the police, as we'll get into. We car equipped to the opening credits. We're into this movie, Danielle. Full tilt ahead.
Hurrah, we made it.
We come back to Gadget dragging the old lady out of the back of his police car into the police station when Penny shows up.
Is Penny older in this?
No, she's still 13 or something.
Okay.
I also realized that, do we ever see Penny's parents? What happened to them? Did they die in the first movie? I don't remember.
I have no recollection as to the backstory, even in the cartoons, of any of these characters.
I don't think any of them had a backstory in the cartoons, which is... I had that same thought in the cartoon. I watched the cartoon as a kid, why is Inspector Gadget the way he is? Why is he the one robot human amongst a sea of regular humans?
Or why is he working with a teenager?
Yeah, and why does Brain have a magic collar? And none of these questions were answered. I never figured out why Inspector Gadget was the way he was. And I get it's a cartoon, but this is Book Retorts. This is what we do.
It might have been answered. You don't remember every Inspector Gadget.
You know what? Maybe I should go back and rewatch the whole series, Danielle. You've given me a homework for the week.
It would probably be fun, to be honest.
It's a pretty good show from what I recall, but it's also very formulaic, unfortunately.
It is.
I imagine it doesn't binge well. It's probably fine as like a weekly serial.
It'd be good for background noise while you're doing other things.
That's true. Good theme song. Very catchy.
It's true. Do they use the theme song in this movie?
Over the ending credits.
Perfect. I'll take it.
So Gadget asks why Penny isn't in school, which is a good question.
Is she ever in school? Feels like she was never in school.
Well, that's what she says is, there aren't any good cases to solve at school. I want to solve real cases with you. And that's not the point of school. Like, you're not at school to, like, Nancy Drew your way or Harriet the Spy your way around. You're there to learn. And if there are cases to solve, that's a bonus, I guess.
This is what she gets for being raised by a robot.
Right? So Gadget sends her back to school reasonably. We cut to Gadget getting a checkup from the crazy Dr. Baxter, who I guess is his inventor, creator, father?
It's like a data issue.
Yeah, exactly. This is very much a Data and Noonien Sung kind of thing.
Yeah.
Which is weird, because wasn't it Khan Noonien Sung as well? Sung?
I don't know that I've watched a lot of Star Trek. I cannot tell you every intricacy of every character.
Oh, no, they're spelled differently. Noonien Sung is S-O-N-G. Khan Noonien Singh is S-I-N-G-H.
Why would you do that?
Star Trek, man. All right, anyway, yeah, this is his father. So Gadget's with Baxter getting a checkup because he keeps glitching. And Baxter's like, can't find anything wrong with you. But, you know, you are a prototype and there are bound to be glitches. But soon we'll be revealing something that will solve all these glitches. So, like, how horrifying is Gadget's life, right?
He's still part human, right?
Right. So he died or was killed or severely injured. I'm assuming. I'm just going to put that out there. I don't care if it's right or not. I'm just assuming. And they rebuilt him without his consent into this crime-fighting robot thing, right? Like, RoboCopped him.
Mm-hmm. Was it without his consent?
I mean, it's hard to consent when you're, you know,
well, if he was
dead.
Severely injured, he might have been. If he was dead, then definitely without his consent.
Even if it was his consent, let's give them that. Now he is in a body that is full of, like, this is beta software. You're glitching over the way. So you're like, that's just your life now. You are a walking prototype. How horrific is that life to constantly be like, well, I don't know what's going to go wrong today, but it's going to be something.
And then to be replaced, especially if you're part human.
Right.
Like forced retirement, essentially.
Oof, we're going to get into all that. You're reading too much into that paragraph and not enough.
Am I?
Yeah. So anyway, his life is a waking nightmare is all I'm saying.
How come they can't update him?
Right. Well, maybe that's what they're saying they're going to do. But I think that's what Baxter is implying here, Dr. Baxter.
But they don't.
But, well, Danielle, we'll get to it.
Sorry.
Well, they don't.
You
Danielle,
shouldn't have given me such a thorough summary. What were you
I'm sorry
thinking?
I didn't give you barely a sentence like you usually give me.
There's a reason I do that, so that you don't do this the entire time.
Oh, Danielle. Well, next time I'll do it without even having the full sentence, and then we'll see how you like it. So Gadget is then accosted by the chief because the old lady he arrested was the chief's mother.
Uh-oh.
He also arrested some quote-unquote girl rangers from the previous week for selling expired cookies. I guess the Girl Scouts did not sign off on this movie.
Expired cookies. They never expire. They're good for years.
Yep. And he is, quote, this close to being put on probation. And this is the most depressingly realistic part of the movie, where a officer who is overzealously arresting random people is merely threatened with probation.
Well, he's got a good record, so they're having a hard time.
Does he? The chief seems to be on his last legs with him.
He put Dr. Claw in jail.
He magooed it, probably, the way, like, Inspector Gadget never actually, like, solved any crimes. Penny and Brain did, in the cartoon at least, and he just took credit. Meanwhile, the chief's mother is teaching the other jail inmates how to properly beat each other senseless by slamming some poor guys around.
Mom is teaching them that?
Yeah, the chief's mother, as she's being in the holding cell, is teaching them all how to beat each other.
Maybe she should have been arrested.
That's what I'm saying. The whole family seems problematic. Cut to a sudden lightning storm just outside the Riverton prison, where we see a claw lunge out of the ground. Dun, dun, dun.
Did he dig himself out of prison with his claw?
Apparently so. Why they let him keep his claw in prison is anyone's guess.
It does seem like a very dangerous weapon for an inmate to have.
This movie has a lot in common with, like, the Batman story arc, where, like, all the criminals are in prison, then they break out of prison. But, like, a chipper, more effective Batman. Cut to Gadget in bed. He gets a call on his hand phone and is so excited by what he hears, his head shoots up through the ceiling to Penny's room. And I'm just thinking to myself, an unstable prototype RoboCop should not be the sole guardian of a child.
This is true.
He excitedly tells Penny that Claw escaped, isn't it great? And then heads out to find him, telling Penny she cannot come with him because she is a child and is too young. And even though he doesn't know how old you have to be become a detective, she still needs to stay home.
Well, he should have told her that many cases ago.
No, in the movie canon, this is only the second case, I guess, of Dr. Claw.
Sure.
And up to this point, she has not been a detective.
That's probably true. Neither of us remember the first one. As usual, this is going to be fun.
I'm prepared to be wrong.
We say it with such authority, though. We're like, this is definitely what happened in the first one.
Because it only makes sense. But to be fair, like, she probably did help out in the movie in some way, but I don't think they, like, said, hey, now you're a detective, join us on cases, because she's still a child.
That didn't stop the Hardy Boys or Nancy Drew.
And they should have.
Or, I don't know, Sweet Valley High, or...
Definitely should have.
Did the Mopsy twins, did they do cases? I don't recall.
Who are the Mopsy twins?
Mopsy twins.
Do you say the Boxy twins?
Bopsy.
I don't know what you're saying.
Bopsy. I was looking for the spelling, but it's Bobbsey.
These are nonsense words to me, Danielle.
They were
what
twins.
What the heck is a Bobsy twin?
They were two twins.
I figured that out.
I just don't remember what they did, to be honest.
You're just talking gibberish, Danielle. You had a stroke. Are you okay?
See, the earliest Bopsy books were mainly episodic strings of adventures. With the growing popularity of the Hardy Boys and Nancy Drew, detective plots began to dominate the series. I'm not crazy, they were detectives. Not
originally, let's be honest, but also, you're crazy for knowing what the Bobsy twins are.
No, I'm not. That's class. If I knew what Hardy Boys and Nancy, it was a whole thing when I was young, Sam.
Okay, we're just going to move on from that.
There's other ones, too. If I, could think a little bit harder, I would remember other ones that were very similar.
We don't have time for Danielle's Detective Kids podcast.
I could do that, though. I've read a lot of those.
You could. You already pretty much have on this series several times.
It's amazing how much mystery I don't read now. I was like, I mysteryed out somehow. I, just read too much history as a child.
You fulfilled your lifetime quota by the time you were, 7. All right.
Early teens.
So we cut to a place that has a sign that says it's a bowling place, but it looks like a generic haunted factory from Scooby-Doo. So that's fun.
If it wasn't for those pesky kids.
There are no pesky kids in this movie. Well, there's Penny, I guess.
It's like, eh.
So Claw has already set himself up with his cat, who is there, and henchmen named Brick and McKibble.
Did he just leave the cat at the bowling alley this entire time?
Or with his henches, I guess.
With his henches. He's like, take care of my cat! Just they're dragging him off to prison.
Somebody feed Mad Cat! But I'm just thinking, it's very impressive that Claw has, after escaping from prison, immediately has both a hideout, henches, and his cat ready to go.
First off, he probably had it on backup just in case this ever happened. And then secondly, I don't think it's that hard to find henchmen. You just call the phone number, the 1-800-HENCH, and you get your henchmen.
This is why I don't invite you to planning parties, Danielle. You come up with ideas like that.
What? It seemed to work for Claw. He got out of jail, or maybe he used one of his jail phone calls. He sets it up, but he's good to go.
Yeah, sure. Moving on. McKibble complains about, why do they need to be the one to, fetch his tea and do all the work? They're vicious minions, not valets. And McKibble doesn't really grasp the whole hench vibe, I think.
Yeah, they're not in charge of anything.
So Claw twists McKibble's nose with his claw until he gets back in line. And that's how you run a tight ship.
Nose breaking.
He then exposits that all his assets were seized after he was arrested last time. So I guess that's from the first movie.
How is he paying the henchmen?
Well, after they pull off the crime of the century, they'll be back on top, Danielle.
So he's promising them money in the future.
I mean, this is pretty much all crime heists are, Daniel. Every heist is, hey guys, you will get money if you do the heist.
My problem with heists is I really do always support the people doing the heist. It's always a much interesting story.
Oh boy, not this time. I mean, maybe this time a little bit. They are trying to take down the military police complex.
See? I mean, if they were stealing from orphans or something, then no. But they're always stealing from somebody who has way too much money.
So what Claw then does, he turns on the TV, which conveniently exposits the rest of his plan for him, basically. It reveals that the Federal Reserve Bank had moved its gold reserve to Riverton as it's statistically the lowest crime city in the nation, which is, like, not how that works, I'm sure.
Hey, we know what we should do. Move our money to a lower crime area.
I mean, not a bad idea, but also, like, there's more that go in the calculation than just which has the lowest crime stats at the moment.
Is that something you announce publicly? Hey, everybody,
Apparently
we are moving our money. Don't come and get it.
Well, you know, we all know where, like, Fort Knox is with the gold reserve in Fort Knox. We also know, like, it's not a secret.
No, but it seems like a smaller situation than Fort Knox.
The Federal Reserve Bank?
That they're just going to, like, pick it up and move it?
I mean, they built the whole high security complex is the whole idea. Like, they built the whole new high security Federal Reserve Bank in Riverton because low crime Riverton is the place to keep a bank, I guess.
Are they going to put Inspector Gadget as, like, the security guard out front?
Nope.
Since he's the one that's apparently keeping it low crime.
Well, not really, I guess. I think it was just the fact that Claw was in prison. Everyone's like, well, that place is not good to go to, which is not how that works.
That's not how crime works at all.
So the henches are all, we don't see how we can do that. That place is impenetrable. And Claw says, that's why you're the minions and I'm the evil genius. To which the henches affably agree. So far, they're the best, as usual.
You do love your henchmen.
The henches are great, man. A good hench is worth its weight in gold. Claw proclaims they're going to build the ultimate super weapon. And I'm really starting to question his evil genius credentials when, like, his plan is build the ultimate super weapon, not just rob bank.
Well, was the super weapon going to help them get into the bank?
Kind of. We'll get into it. They only have 10 days because at that point, the X-Force 1 satellite will be directly over Riverton. And by then, they need to steal ion fuel cells, a protoid laser, and a ruby. And that's the extent of Claw's plan as we know it. So
what does
let's review.
It matter if the thing is above them or not?
Don't know, Danielle. It's never explained until the very end of the movie.
Well, at least it's explained. That's better than some of our movies.
I mean, it's not really explained, I'll be honest. But like, his whole plan is, hey guys, we have 10 days to do this amazing heist because satellite also will need a bunch of random nonsense.
I assume they're going to use the random nonsense, though.
Yes, obviously for the plan, but also not a good plan. Give yourself a little bit more time, buddy.
Well, you only have one chance to rob the Federal Reserve.
I mean, maybe. Depends on how badly you do it. So cut to the police station. There's a press conference with the mayor about Claw's escape. They take the opportunity to unveil the new Gadget Model 2, or G2, the new Inspector Gadget, who is a sexy lady in skin-tight clothes for reasons. That I'm, yeah.
Yeah, as always.
Yeah, not for the children, I'm sure. While similar to the original Gadget, Danielle, guess what's different?
It's got boobs.
Well, I mean, that, but also... she's all robot, no human.
Oh, that's always going to work well, I'm sure.
Which, isn't that like the whole point of Inspector Gadget is that like he has the brain of a detective or something? Like, if they could just build robots like Inspector Gadget, why not just build robots? Why build the cyborg Inspector Gadget and trap him in a living hell?
I don't know the answer to that. But maybe they built him first and then realized, oh, we don't need to do that. We can just build robots.
And also, again, if that is true... imagine how awful it is to be Inspector Gadget. Like, he's like, I did not need to be this way. I could be a normal person. They could have just, I don't know, given me a prosthetic and let me live my life.
He should
not fill me with malfunctioning gizmos and googas that constantly cause havoc in my life and ruin my relationships.
He seems okay with it.
He is, but maybe they like messed with his brain.
I have to assume, yes.
What a horror. This movie is dark.
No, the movie's not dark. You make it dark, like you make everything dark.
I don't make it dark, Danielle. You simply think about the logical consequences of the world they're presenting, and it's horrific.
Gosh.
Right? Like, tell me that's not a horror show if you were like Inspector Gadget.
I swear you literally could take anything and make it a horror show.
Humanity is dark, Danielle. It's everywhere. Let me make it a bit more horrific, because Gadget, original flavor, is instantly just so horny for the robot.
I saw that coming, but also, I don't know if that's an ew or not.
And he knows she's a robot. Like, here she's a robot, and then immediately he fantasizes about impressing her by foiling a bank robbery.
Is this a very sentient female robot?
She is extremely sentient.
He's like 80% robot, so I don't know if that's wrong.
I mean, it feels like, I don't know, it feels off, because if you're making a robot cop, sure. Do you need to make her a sexy robot cop? And
No.
does she even have the capacity for, why do you have to make her sentient? And B, if your first thought about seeing a new robot cop that's replacing you is how horny you are for her, maybe you're not the best person.
Does the robot end up sharing feelings? Because it's a weird thing to program into your robot.
We'll get into that extensively, Danielle.
I'm sure we will.
Anyway, Gadget is called up for a demonstration of the G2's capability. And OG, so original Gadget, and G2 shake hands. Sparks literally fly, and this must be a Cinderella story if they touch hands and feel true love.
Obviously.
Gadget is told to stand there while G2 shows how she apprehends suspects. She does this by shooting a boomerang tied to a rope from her hat, which wraps up OG. OG notices that one of the many improvements to G2 is that she doesn't have to say, go, go, Gadget, and has no glitches. And if this technology is only a few years newer than Gadget technology, than OG, why did they ever go through Cyborg in the first place? Why do they make Gadget say go, go, Gadget all the time? Man, he's got the worst of all worlds.
Why? I'm still confused why they don't just update Gadget.
Because they don't like him?
But maybe they would like him if he wasn't constantly doing things wrong.
Maybe it's the fact that he's got a human brain that is the problem.
Maybe it's messing up the wiring.
So the chief puts G2 on the case while OG is excited to have a partner. The G2 says she works alone, which is strange because one, she's a robot, does not get to decide that for herself.
And also a cop, and they often work together.
Yeah, and two, she's only existed for 30 seconds at this point, so I'm not sure how she has a pattern of working alone.
And why would they pair her up with anybody if she's programmed to work alone?
They don't, because Gadget's off the case.
He's just following along.
No, he's just off the case. They removed him from the case. He's done. He's been replaced by G2.
But you said he followed along with her.
Who said that?
Didn't you say that he was, decided to go with her or something? Did I make that up? No.
You did. Danielle, you gotta stop. Back at home, Penny is shocked about her uncle being off the case. However, Penny has found a clue about Claw, a classified ad reading, "Single evil genius seeks minions for rewarding opportunity in the field of world domination. Extensive rap sheet required." So, no, Danielle, he didn't use a phone call. He used the classified ad.
Sorry, I forgot what year it was.
So Penny checked the callback number and found that it's for a bar called the Blue Monkey and suggests Gadget go there and get back on the case, even though he's been told not to be on the case.
I don't remember the first movie as we've established, but
sure.
Is Gadget the best person to be on the case? Because he probably knows the most about Claw.
You would think, but apparently it's all about the G2 now, a newer, better model.
But you think that they'd at least leave him as a consult or something?
Danielle, you would think that, but the chief really does not like Inspector Gadget.
Then why have him on the force at all? Why not just fire him or not have had him for the last several years? What's their
Danielle,
beef?
I'm not Chief Quimby. I don't know his brain. The point is, Gadget's that's a great idea. And then Penny is surprised that she's not going with Gadget to the biker bar in the middle of the night to confront an evil criminal organization.
Would they even let a teenager into the biker bar?
Right. She's you're going without me? It's not fair. He's you're a child. Stay home. And we're supposed to feel bad for her. I think the movie sets up that Penny's being mistreated and undervalued, but not bringing a child to a biker bar in the middle of the night to confront a criminal organization is not undervalued a child. That is responsible parenting.
See, this is your adult brain. I'm sure if you were 6 years old, as we've established this movie is for, if you were 6-year-olds and watching this, you probably would be she is undervalued and underappreciated as a character, but smaller words because you're 6.
Well, I had a pretty good vocabulary at 6, but also if I was 6 years old, Danielle, I would not be doing this podcast, so it's a moot point.
You don't know that. I bet you're a very precocious 6-year-old.
If by precocious you mean annoying, then yes.
I was precocious in a non-annoying way.
I don't think that's true. I think that is inherently untrue.
You didn't know me at 6.
I don't need to. I know you now.
I was charming. People love me.
Tell yourself that. Anyway, the point is, adult Sam is watching this movie, and so these are adult Sam's thoughts. Deal with it.
No, I agree. She needs to be locked in her room because she can't be trusted.
Well, good to know because Gadget shows up at the bar that night in disguise while Penny also shows up having snuck out there somehow with the dog.
At least she brought a chaperone.
No. So she sneaks around back, to the back alley behind the bar to see the minion job interview in progress. She then starts filming them on a handheld camcorder because, 2003.
Darn you cell phones, not existing nearly as much as today.
Meanwhile, inside the bar, when Gadget takes the phrase, grease a few palms literally, he starts a massive bar fight. He calls for his car, like, Gadgetmobile, help me, who is once again sleeping in the parking lot and totally useless.
Maybe they should have given him a more reliable car. This is on them, the car.
Also, if they can make a car, like a robot car, why program it to sleep?
Yeah, great question. Comedy value.
I guess. I still don't like it. However, the cops are called by the monkey in the bar, so they soon show up on the scene and the minions all scatter from the job interview.
There's a monkey in the bar?
It's a blue monkey bar, Danielle. Of course there's a monkey in the bar.
Oh, sorry. I should have known.
Yeah, Danielle, come on, keep up. There's a little capuchin monkey there.
Yeah, of course, obviously. How did the cops know? Did the monkey, talk into the phone?
I think they heard the bar fight in progress, and they heard people screaming, maybe. I don't know, Danielle, but, they're probably used to getting calls from the blue monkey to come break up bar fights. So the G2 walks into the bar because I guess she also breaks up bar fights in addition to being on the claw case.
And the bartender said, why the long face? Hey.
No, she's a human being, Danielle, not a horse.
It was definitely the start of a joke.
No, it wasn't.
The GT walks into a bar? Yes, it is.
All right, how's it end?
I don't know.
Give me a drink. There it is. That's the joke. I don't know. Give me a drink. Great. G2 and OG get into an argument about how she's in charge of the case, even though, despite not being programmed for such emotions, she finds him strangely likable.
What? Why do all of our robot things have robots that act in ways that don't make sense to their programming?
Because that's how this podcast works, Danielle. If all robots made sense, I would have nothing to talk about.
That's true. Half your media would be off the table.
I mean, I've read books with robots that do make sense. I've just not brought them to you.
Or what's The Clone and I also didn't make sense.
I mean, yeah, that was ridiculous. And as soon as she said that, I'm like, that's it. Time to shut this program down. This robot's gone rogue. It's a Terminator situation. This is like Skynet about to happen. When a robot starts independently developing feelings, ooh, you gotta pull the plug immediately.
Again, The Clone and I. Remember, it just disappears from the warehouse or wherever the heck it normally goes and lives its own life and nobody does anything about it.
Maybe this is a prequel to that.
Terrifying.
Meanwhile, Penny was nabbed by the cops, but Gadget gets her off the hook because, she's with him. And she shows them the video she made detailing the heist clause plan for the next day. So, it shows that the henchmen are you guys are going to do a heist for us tomorrow at blah, blah warehouse.
Are they still planning that once they got broken up when they feel that somebody was onto them or something?
No, I guess. I think they just saw the bar fight and just time to get out of here. Okay. They're not the brightest henches, Danielle.
Clearly.
And while the Gadgets both appreciate Penny's lead, OG is still upset with her because obviously the chief is also upset that OG got involved in this case that he was explicitly taken off of and tells him to stay away from the heist stakeout. It's all up to G2. He is not supposed to be involved.
Is Gadget on any cases right now? Is he just chilling? Why don't they just fire him?
That's your answer to everything, Danielle. Fire people.
I'm just curious. If they don't want him working any cases, why does he still work at the police station?
Do you know how hard it is to fire cops?
No, probably hard.
Yeah.
Do they have a union? Does Gadget have a union?
The police union, of course the police have a union. It's a big thing.
Is Gadget specifically on a union? It's a small town.
Doesn't matter. I think every police member is in the union for reasons. I'm not here to debate the politics of cops.
Is he even allowed to be? He's not even human.
Danielle, that's offensive. He is as human as all of us because he has feelings and emotions.
Yeah, well, so does G2 apparently. And
she's an abomination.
I'm just saying there's a court case to be made, Sam.
This isn't bicentennial, man. We're not going to get into the debates of what makes someone human or not, but Gadget was born a human and they mutilated him. I think he gets slightly more leeway.
Not arguing. I'm pro Gadget. I was just curious the thought process behind all this.
Do you think there's a thought process behind this?
I don't know. You're the one who watched the movie.
So the chief forbids Gadget from going near the stakeout. OG, of course, ignores this and shows up anyway, hiding at a distance, and ogles G2 with binoculars. So,
Gross.
Classy. Are we supposed to root for him? Because he seems...
Can you imagine if the main character listened to all the rules that were imposed upon them? The whole story was them, just not doing the things.
He goes home and like hangs out with Penny, watches a movie, and calls it a night. And we see on the TV the next day, G2 apprehends stakeout, breaks up claw crime ring.
You could even follow G2, but like the whole story is just him not doing the things.
Yeah, and then she solves the case because, as you would expect, his bungling is what causes the plot to keep going.
Of course.
Anyway, he ogles her, and he laments about feeling bad about being last year's model, and that he has no chance with her because he's like old and outdated. So his car gives him a pep talk. And if I ever take dating advice from a car, Danielle, then you need to check if I've been replaced by a clone because something is wrong.
I mean, if you just said that you got dating advice from a car, I'd start to question things.
Yeah.
Let alone if you took it.
This movie is insane. The car's like, buck up, Gadget. Just gotta show her how awesome you are. He's like, you're right. I'm gonna go over there and show her how cool I am. And
during
the
stakeout.
This is a car with 4 eyes. Do not listen to it. Did I mention that like little animated car face that's like supposed to be like his bumper, and there's like a picture of him in like a screen on the car, has 4 eyes because he has 4 headlights, and it's unnerving?
No, you did not mention that.
Well, I just did. Meanwhile, the henches break into the warehouse and steal the ion fuel cells. G2 confronts them, and OG declares she needs backup, despite her clearly handling it very capably. At one point, to avoid being kicked by a ninja hench, did I mention one of the hired henches was a ninja?
No, but I assumed.
Yep.
Is this ion thing in the same city?
The warehouse with the ion fuel cells? Yeah, it's all Riverton.
Why
Riverton has a booming ion fuel cell industry.
It's like, why do they have all these things here?
Plot convenience. So, to avoid getting kicked by the ninja hench, the G2 splits her body in twain, ejecting her torso up to grab some chains hanging from the ceiling.
It's like separated into 2 separate pieces?
Yeah. Like, to go back to Star Trek for a moment, imagine the Enterprise D, the saucer section, separating from the battle bridge.
So is it like straight through the middle? Does the bottom half have eyes?
No, like she has legs and a hips, and then her torso is hanging from the ceiling.
Do the legs and hips just stand there?
Nope, they go kick some butt.
How do they see? Are there like cameras built into her legs?
Maybe it's getting transmission telemetry from her head, like... Clearly, this is future technology.
Does she have a vagina eye?
Danielle, that is inappropriate, and I will not dignify that with a response.
It's okay, you can cut it out if you want.
She's wearing pants, by the way.
It doesn't mean anything. It could like come out of there, or...
No, Danielle.
There's like, maybe it's in one of her buttons on the pants?
Nope. The OG, original Gadget, is somehow further aroused by this when she splits in half, calling her limber.
That's so gross.
This movie is disturbing. I'm not making it dark, Danielle. It is dark. Also, his attempts to help have been fruitless because he can't get his gadgets to work because of all his go-go glitches. So, womp womp, poor Gadget.
Poor Gadget. Was he that bad in the first movie?
Yeah, he actually had mistakes too.
Yeah, I know part of the plot. But...
not the movie. I mean the TV show. I don't know about the movie. I think he did have problems with the movie too, though. I remember him shooting like blue toothpaste out of a tube in his arm when he didn't mean to. That's how the movie ends.
Okay.
They slip into sliding around in the field on like blue goo.
I literally cannot remember a single thing from that movie other than...
I think that's the final shot of the movie, so you're welcome.
Thanks for ruining it. Spoilers.
You're welcome. Yeah, sorry. Anyway, the G2's bodiless leg kicks some butt before her torso reattaches and she applies fresh lipstick because even if she's a robot and a crime fighter, she still has to be dolled up. And man, I really hate movies sometimes.
Why would she wear makeup to begin with? It's a robot.
Because she's a girl, Danielle. And this movie was made by men. I
almost never wear makeup, and I am a girl.
Again, I agree. I'm saying this movie is wrong.
It's way too much effort in the mornings.
Yep. So just as the G2 is about to apprehend the last of the henches, OG ziplines right into her, knocking her down and allowing them all to escape. I should also point out that the G2 has a pattern. She'll say her catchphrase, "Stop this felonious and unlawful act or I will have to use force."
Felonious.
And then the criminals will freeze and put their hands up and she'll say, "Very well, you were warned," and attack them anyway. Which again, feels way too real. Back at the station, the chief is reasonably cheesed off that Gadget disobeyed his orders, which caused the heist to not be foiled. The The chief reassigns Gadget to toilet cleaning duty, which I don't think is how that works.
I don't think that's how that works either.
But anyway, OG wrecks the bathroom, so we get a fun scene of that happening.
I don't know why you would assume he would do anything but that.
The chief is not very smart.
He can't even control most of his functions.
Claw, meanwhile, is delighted that Gadget was demoted, which somehow made the papers.
Never mind.
Yeah, what was that question going to be, Danielle?
It was not appropriate. I was just curious if Gadget and G2 got together, how all the parts worked for Gadget.
Danielle, those are questions I don't have the answers to, but you have to presume if they built her with functioning parts as a full robot, why? Why did they do that? She was a crime-fighting robot. Let's give her genitals.
Why does she have feelings? Why does she only work alone? None of these things make sense. Why not give her parts?
I can only presume this was a sex robot program that they quickly rebranded to Crime Fighter when they saw an opportunity to make some money by selling her to the police.
You can't convince me otherwise. Nothing you've said so far about this character suggests otherwise.
That's the only thing that makes sense. So Penny is waiting for Gadget outside the police station when he gets off work, where she delivers him a ransom style cut up letters note where he's told to be at the science convention the next day if he wants to catch Claw. It's like, I'm a concerned citizen, writing you a note to help. Here's a serial killer letter doing that.
Who did that?
We don't know, Danielle. It's a mystery. A concerned citizen.
Sorry, I thought that you had said who it was.
Gadget sees nothing suspicious about this. Penny identifies it as a clear trap probably set up by Claw.
I thought he was supposed to be kind of smart.
Nope.
His stuff doesn't work well, but he's an okay detective.
No, in the cartoons at least, he's a dingus. He never would solve any crimes without Penny's secret help.
Right, I know Penny's the smart one.
So Penny identifies it as a trap and concludes the best way to avoid it is for Gadget to bring her along.
What was he like before he got turned into a robot?
How would I know? I haven't seen I don't remember the first movie. We've been over this.
I just wondered if he was smarter.
I can only hope so, because otherwise they picked a real winner for the Gadget program.
All right, sorry, Penny what?
Penny says the only way to avoid the trap is that he should bring her along. And Gadget's like, no, I'm not bringing you along on a stakeout to a trap. But then unreasonably doesn't give this info to any of his colleagues. He just sends Penny home, I'm going to go myself.
Well, he's been running rogue this entire time. Why do you think he was going to tell his colleagues?
My point is he should not be running rogue. Clearly it hasn't worked out for him.
Yeah, well, he apparently is stupid enough to think this time it will. Or optimistic enough, perhaps. So
the science convention is more like a science fair meets a horror show, as things like cloning booths are demonstrated on unsuspecting public.
So what kind of science show is this?
It's a science convention. It's like a science fair because they have cloning booths and they clone random people and there's
that's not how any of
radios
that works.
Being shown off. It's all horrifying, Danielle.
Like a dystopian science show?
Yeah. I mean, it's dystopian in the sense of this is clearly science gone amok. So Gadget wanders around just looking at things randomly while Penny, wearing a hat and glasses for disguise, does the same.
Is this where Claw's going to get the ruby from?
No. She also brought Brain along because I'm not sure why and how she brought a dog into a science convention, but here we are.
Apparently you can take anything into the science convention. There's clones running around. Who cares? The
clones were made in the science convention, Danielle. Thank you very much.
Maybe the dog was, too. You could just say, oh, yeah, it's that booth over in the corner making dogs.
Let's see how far that gets her.
Pretty far, I would imagine.
It might. This place is insane. Dr. Baxter is also there, showing off a collar that translates dog barks to English.
Though currently dogs.
Though currently it only is able to translate dog barks into other animal sounds, so it's useless.
Well, how does it know it's translating to other animal sounds?
Because it just makes moos and other noises when it's on a dog.
Does it translate so a cow could understand a dog? Is that what they're suggesting?
Presumably. That's exactly what's suggesting.
So how does this technology understand what dogs are saying well enough
Danielle,
to translate to a cow talk?
Are you really asking me to explain the
English?
dog Are you really asking me to explain the dog universal translator in the Gadget direct-to-VHS sequel movie?
Yeah, kind of, because this is suggesting that we somehow have the technology to understand all of the animals enough that this technology can speak to other animals, but not to humans, which makes absolutely no sense.
To be clear, the Gadget technology, that makes sense to you. The collar technology, that's unacceptable.
Yeah, actually. I mean, I don't think the gadget technology is that much better, but this is like supposing that somehow we have enough information on what dogs mean and what cows mean to be able to translate those two things, but not into like English or another language.
I mean, it's not that he can't do it in English. He just said it's got glitches. He can't get it off like the cow setting.
So weird.
I love how this is what's got you like completely flummoxed.
Because it's stupid.
This
the
is
logic
stupid.
Doesn't make sense. Even
the
a little bit.
RoboCop
not even a tiny
totally makes sense. Sexy RoboCop, not stupid. Dog collar that got stuck on the cow setting.
But
stupid.
I understand how they would have like an upgraded robot. I'm buying into the premise and not how they actually like presented the premise, but the concept that they're upgrading Gadget. Sure.
Okay. I'm sorry, Daniel. You're just going to have to accept the dog collar. There's no way around it.
No, I'm mad about it.
Okay, well, be mad. I don't tell you. So Gadget wanders off to get some product placement-based burgers and is accosted by two henches pretending to be fanboys.
Fanboys to Gadget?
Yeah, fanboys of gadgets.
Does he not catch on that they're henchmen?
Absolutely not.
Okay. Does he often get approached by fans?
This is the first we've seen of it.
Okay, sure.
While posing for a photo, the henches slip some kind of device onto his hat. Uh-oh. The mayor then takes the convention stage to unveil the new protoid laser. And is that something mayors do? Do they, like, present new technology at science fair convention things?
If your science fair convention has talking animals and clones, then maybe.
Who knows? Anyway, the device placed on Gadget allows Claw to suddenly remote control his entire body.
Oh, well, it's quite the technology.
Yeah, it is. And also, again, what a living nightmare is Gadget's life, where he can have his autonomy just taken away from him.
With a single device. If they have all of these devices, how do they not just have a device that can get into the treasury?
See, this is my question too, Danielle. This plan is so stupid. It's like, let me build this amazing device when I already have, like, access to all this technology. Like, I'll get into it.
What were the three things they had to get? Was it this is the laser?
Protoid
that they
laser.
had to get? Okay.
Yep. The ion fuel cells and then the ruby.
Okay.
So Claw causes Gadget to like freak out and spray mustard everywhere, interrupting the protoid laser presentation. And then basically he goes on this to generally wreak havoc around the place.
What was their plan if Gadget didn't show up to this?
There was no plan B.
They were just like, maybe Gadget will show up.
No, they sent him the letter, Danielle, telling him to show up.
Yeah, but then like, what if he just didn't? What if he knew it was a trap for real and he didn't go in there?
I guess they bombed the place? I don't know.
Like, what's the plan?
You'll see that Claw's plans are both amazing and terrible. Continuing a trend, Gadget calls for help from his car, who is once again asleep and useless.
He needs a new car.
Even
just everything. A regular car would be better than this.
Seriously. While Gadget is freaking out, Penny, and only Penny, sees the henches stealing the laser and sends Brain after them to apprehend them. As Brain is a small beagle and these are two grown men, he can do little more than harass their ankles and they get away.
Shocking.
I know, right? Brain does manage to steal one of their shoes, and Penny is stoked that it might be a clue. Somehow.
Well, it has their DNA on it if you had a DNA test, I guess.
Maybe. We'll get into the shoe later, and it is great. Back at the station, Gadget is fired, finally, despite the evidence of the circuit override chip planted on him, which is like the one instance where maybe he shouldn't be blamed, and this is when they fire him.
It was a long time coming. He was just looking for an excuse.
Yeah. So this leads to a question. What are Gadget's prospects? He's a cyborg built to be a police officer. Doesn't the Force have like an obligation to him? Is he going to have to like now be on his own? There's like, oh, we programmed you and built you to be this thing and we're going to like dump support. Now we're not going to fix your glitches. We're just going to let you live your life out like on your own.
Yeah, he should have signed a better contract.
I mean, I don't know what this is, but it's
What's
awful.
the union doing?
Right? This is insane. Also, unrelated, but back to the cartoon, I've always wondered, like, his hat. It always has, like, the little flap that opens up. Is he, like, not able to take off his hat? Is his hat, like, grafted to his body so that it has, like, the little flap that hides all his other gadgets in it? Like, what's up with that?
Do you ever see him in bed? Does he sleep?
Yeah, we'll get to that in a moment, and it just raises more questions.
Does he wear the hat in bed?
No. Oh, so we'll cut back to Gadget at home, looking through the classifieds for a new job. He's binned his trench coat and hat, so I guess that answers that question. But he is wearing like a nightcap, so maybe the top of his head is missing, and he always needs a hat or something to like cover the flap, because he always has a hat on.
Yeah, maybe it's not a full head.
Again, what they did to him was monstrous. Penny comes in to check on him because he's clearly depressed. Penny shows Gadget the bowling shoe Brain got, and Gadget tells her to drop it. He's no longer a cop, and she's a child, and shouldn't be involved with criminal investigations. Penny runs off crying that he doesn't believe in her. And I'm like, you're 13 or 14. You should not be expecting to be able to fight criminal gangs. Get over yourself, girl.
It seems to be the only thing he's consistently good at is like trying to draw that boundary.
And she is like, how dare you? You don't believe in me. It's like, it's not about believing in you. It's about you not being able to fight crime as a child. You have no training. You have no skills. You are a little child. You are a liability, as we will see.
The TV show says otherwise.
Anyway, Brain drags the shoe over to her, which convinces her to get back on the case. She's like, you're right, Brain. Back to it. And we enter a clue montage where she, guess what?
Finds clues?
She dusts the shoe for fingerprints, which, nonsense. And then dissects the shoe in her biology class instead of a frog.
Sure.
This is while Gadget fails at various jobs and the henches steal more things for Claw so they can build the super weapon.
Yeah, he'd be terrible at other jobs. What else is he going to do?
Right? The police really screwed him by building him and then firing him.
They should at least give him some kind of like pension or something to live on.
Yeah, you'd think. Penny does find a patent number on the shoe. Like, she cuts open the shoe and underneath the sole, there's a patent number. And I don't think that's how that works. Like, A, do shoes need patent numbers?
And does it help unless it's a very specific shoe?
And also, B, are you going to, like, put them on a little metal plate hidden under the sole where no one can see it unless they cut open the shoe?
Yes.
So she looks up the number on the patent office website, which takes her to like a GeoCities style page with a rotating bowling shoe GIF that tells her the history of the shoe, which company made it, and where they were headquartered. None of this is how patent office's website works.
Or is useful. I mean, it's just a shoe.
Yeah, well, it tells her where it was made and that the company that makes it is headquartered in Riverton, or was back in the 60s before they went out of business.
Sure. Is that helpful information?
No, but she takes information to the library where she looks up the, like, where's the factory for this company? Oh, it's right here. That's where they're probably hiding.
So he's wearing shoes from the Why is he wearing shoes from the company where they're hiding?
Because there's like full of old boxes of bowling shoes and bowling shirts, and so they had just put those on. That's like their uniform for the rest of the movie.
Okay, sure.
It is actually pretty good. Claw, meanwhile, tells his henches they need a 50,000 carat ruby, which, okay. Luckily, the Raja of India loaned his to the Riverton Museum, and it will be on display during the mayor's fundraiser that evening.
Oh, thank goodness. That was going to be rough otherwise.
Also, if you can steal a priceless giant ruby, why not use that as money instead of stealing the gold?
That is a great question.
I don't understand this villain. Like, he clearly could just steal giant rubies. Why does he need to build a super weapon?
Why can't he just use that skill level to rob from the treasury without the super weapon?
Or rob not the treasury and still have plenty of money.
Yeah, maybe the gem is hard to sell.
I mean, I imagine it might be. But then also, like, gold exists in other places.
It's true.
Anyway, I find Claw perplexing.
You want to support him, but you don't understand why.
Yeah. At the fundraiser, Gadget is working valet parking. And when the chief and G2 show up, she looks forlornly at Gadget, but does not say anything. Inside, Claw and his henches break out Tommy guns and a bowling pin, where the top comes off the bowling pin, and a balloon from inside that inflates and then pops, releasing laughing gas.
That's fun.
And I'm like, what is Claw doing? Is he a bowling-themed Batman villain? What's going on? Why? Why is this like this giant contraption in a bowling pin? Why just like release a gas grenade? What is happening?
It was probably, they just got bored, so they decided to see if they could put the gas grenade inside of the bowling pin.
Oh, this is bonkers. Meanwhile, Penny has got to the bowling factory hideout and breaks in. She finds similar bowling shoes to the ones she had before, and this proves the bowling paraphernalia factory does indeed make bowling shoes. So I guess, well done, Penny. You found the hideout by finding a place that makes bowling shoes. Was a bowling shoe factory. Back at the fundraiser, Claw and his crew have gas masks on while all the guests double over laughing. G2, as a robot, is unaffected. But Claw has a plan, a giant cartoon magnet that pulls all the metal things in the room, including one guy's braces, to it. Insane.
What about people's watches and
everything?
Wouldn't 1 million people be on that giant magnet?
No, it rips them off their bodies. They manage to stand still. No one has a metal hip or anything either.
That would cause so much physical damage.
The guy's braces getting ripped out, I imagine, must have been very painful. This also, of course, disarms the G2, so good for Claw.
Where'd he get the giant magnet?
He brought it with him.
From the store?
Danielle, I don't know. He manages to make all this stuff, like the remote control chip, and yet somehow he's like, we have no resources.
Did he steal the giant magnet? Because he couldn't have afforded it.
Possibly. Maybe they sold the giant magnet. I did not see where it comes from.
I have questions.
Yeah, of course you do. Welcome to my life watching this movie. Back at the bowling factory, Penny finds Claw's evil plan on a chalkboard, and she's just about to say what Claw's going to do. She's like, oh, I know what he's making. He's making a... Well, the evil guys all show up, and Penny's immediately spotted and caught, but Brain escapes.
Uh-oh.
After the fundraiser, the mayor is super angry and cancels the entire Gadget program and insists they reinvest in regular police officers. And while I'm not really in favor of RoboCops, I'm not sure that's worse than the current system, so,
Out of curiosity, is Brain going to find the caller that lets him speak English?
Yeah, we'll get into this. Anyway, the chief tells G2 that they're going to take her back for immediate deactivation. And isn't she, sentient? This is all sorts of messed up. They're just going to, turn her off? They can do that?
As usual, we have issues with sentient robots.
It's just problematic on so many levels. G2 is obviously very upset by this and cries, literally tears come out of her eyes.
Why did they make tears?
My exact question.
Is this so she can go undercover?
No, I see this, and I think that deactivation is not enough. They have to melt her down. This is how you get a robot apocalypse. OG sees the plight of G2, then later sneaks into the police lab and reactivates her from storage.
Of course.
How did he get in? There's no security on the police station secret lab, I guess.
How does any of the characters in this movie do anything?
Everything is just so easy for all of them. Gadget lays out all the things about her that turn him on, like her physical prowess and commanding voice. Mm-hmm. And she is, despite being a robot, charmed by this.
Sure, why not?
Brain shows up and lassies at them, but they can't understand him. OG then gets the dog translator collar from earlier, and Brain spills the beans.
Does he just go and pick it up? Well, where does he?
Yeah.
It's in the room? It's in a...
Well, this is Baxter's lab. Remember, this was Baxter's invention, so I guess he brought it back with him from the convention.
Sure, okay.
So Brain just lays out everything. He's like, they're going to rob the Federal Reserve. They're making a giant laser. They're in the bowling alley factory or a bowling factory. It's all there for you.
Does the voice match the dog?
It sounds like Max from the Goofy movie.
Okay, sure.
If that helps at all.
Sure.
OG takes this as proof that he, a grown adult professional inspector, should have listened to a child and let her do more unofficial work on his police cases because she was right about the bowling alley being
the bowling tube being a clue. So well.
Right? I'm like, absolutely not. You were right. Don't doubt yourself, Gadget. Anyway, OG convinces G2 to team up with him to save Penny instead of, getting the rest of the force involved too. They then have a brief suiting up montage and off they go. So we cut to Claw, who has dragged Penny and his laser ray thing, which is inside a truck, to a bluff to reveal his super weapon. Why is Penny there, or even alive, is a question I have.
Questions for the H's. Why do they ever keep anybody alive in a movie?
Yep.
Did they get the ruby?
Yeah, after they did the laughing gas thing.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. Also, the super weapon is built into this truck, and when he activates it, the roof of the truck opens, and a giant bowling pin comes out.
Where did
I miss something? Did I miss some Inspector Gadget lore where Claw is a former pro bowler, or somehow associated with bowling? Why is everything bowling things like he's a freaking penguin, or the Joker? I don't get it.
Where did he get this van from as well?
Question for the ages. He has 2 vans. One for his bowling pin laser, and one for his, heist. It's insane.
It's amazing how much money they spent on this heist.
It's crazy that after Claw, having had all his assets seized in the previous movie, was still able to put all this together. Like, if he has this kind of resources, like, why is he robbing the Federal Reserve? It's pointless. Anyway, Claw announces this, a time displacement laser. Still no idea what that is. And he fires the laser, which bounces off the satellite. Remember the satellite that was the ticking clock for the movie?
Yes.
He bounces off the satellite back into the city, which causes time to stop in the whole city. Like, everyone sort of freezes in place.
Okay, this is like, there's a difference between shenanigans with robots and being able to control time.
No, there isn't, Danielle. It's the same thing, and that magic space laser helped, I guess.
No, because now it's in the realm of, like, fantasy as opposed to, like, maybe a little sci-fi.
So Penny did find him reading a book on quantum mechanics for dummies, so, you know, clearly he figured it out.
Just by, what did the ruby have to do with anything?
It was to power the space laser. He needed those items to make his laser that shot the satellite that bounced it back into the city that stopped time.
And he got all of that through the quantum mechanics for dummies?
I have no answer, Danielle.
It seems like the most difficult way to accomplish his heist.
Yeah, and if he can make a time displacement laser, like, why are you robbing a bank? You've got bank right there in the laser. You can just sell that or patent it or whatever. Like, you are set for life and it's totally legit. You'll be, like, scot-free.
Yeah, that's wild.
Bonkers. Anyway, this, like, time stop is like a bubble that expands out, and the G's are in the G-mobile, and they outdrive the expanding bubble of time stoppage, which after a few seconds fades away and stops, so I guess the time stoppage is permanent now, even without the ray, like, being continuously on.
So, can they, like, see time stopping?
Yeah, they saw, like, the bubble. It's like a blue bubble of time stoppage expanding out from the city.
Sure, okay. I don't think it'd actually be a colored bubble, but what do I know? It's imaginary time.
The magic time stop laser has a color, Danielle. That's the biggest problem it has.
It just feels like it'd be colorless. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, I can't argue with you there.
If you're going to make something up, at least make it up good.
They made it up to look good, Danielle, not make sense. So the G's turn around and head for the Federal Reserve because they guess the heist is on. Claw and his henches show up there first, still with Penny for some unfathomable reason. They get to the vault, and it's like the Indiana Jones warehouse full of gold just as far as the eye can see.
How are they planning to get it all out?
Great question, because all they've brought is one ice cream truck. Like, literally, it's his secret, like, van, like his getaway van that's painted to look like an ice cream truck.
I guess they have all day. They could just keep carting gold forever.
Back and forth, back and forth.
As long as they wanted to.
And also, like, how much gold could that place hold? It's so much. It would take them years to get it all out of there.
If they have this device, why don't they have one that just transports the gold to another location all at once?
Right? None of it makes any sense.
Where are the lines?
Claude then says that they're next going to rob Fort Knox and then the Louvre, and like, why? If you pull this off, you're set for life, and you still have a time laser. Why even bother stealing anymore? What's the point? Life is meaningless to you. You control space and time. Why are such petty concerns like money still relevant? You are a god.
Maybe he just likes robbing places. Did you ever think of that?
I guess it's his hobby. Everyone needs a hobby.
Yeah, maybe it's not like the money. Maybe it's just the thrill of getting away with it.
What's the thrill if you can stop time? Like, there's no challenge.
I don't know. I can't tell you.
Anyway, the G's show up by driving the car straight into the bank vault, somehow, and Claw threatens to kill Penny and then send some of his minions after the G's while he gets away in his ice cream truck. G2 tells OG to go after Penny while she handles the henches. OG complains about being last year's model when he glitches again trying to get his helicopter hat to work. And that's when G2 opens her chest and gives him a chip from her body. Like, they actually swap chips. And I'm not sure that's how any of this should work. Like, you can just, like, take a chip from her, put it in him, and, like, the robot girl works in the cyborg man. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
So this suggests, as I said earlier, that he could have just been upgraded.
Yeah. Also, they could just I was going to get to that next, but yes, they could have absolutely just upgraded him with a new chip and everything would have been fine.
That's even worse because then they chose not to do that.
Yes. I'm telling you, I think this entire, like, universe is a bad place designed to torture Gadget for eternity until he learns the meaning of life and ascends to the next level of existence.
Maybe he was a terrible person prior to this existence.
This is his, like, purgatory or hell or whatever. Amazingly, this just makes OG stop glitching, so he zooms off while G2 goes after the henches.
So now she's gonna glitch?
Yep, a little bit, yeah.
Gosh, they really should just fix the little thing.
He's going to make one more chip and put it in, and they're fine.
Yeah, one extra chip. Crazy.
So OG flies after the truck in his helicopter hat, and the truck deploys mini rocket launchers to like shoot at him. It's quite the ice cream truck, I gotta say. It's very impressed. Again,
where is all this money coming? Did he steal the truck from someone else?
It's an amazing... you're gonna love the ending. It's insane! So G2 faces off against the ninja hench, and when she goes, for some reason, because I thought she didn't have to go at all, but I guess she needs to now, she glitches. Oh no, she caught the glitch disease, but it works out because she uses the unintended glitches just as effectively, so I guess it's not actually a problem.
So she's just better at rolling with the punches than he is.
She's like, whenever you get lemons, make lemonade. And just like, sure, fine. The car chase, meanwhile, continues on interminably, and G2 and the Gadgetmobile join in. Gadget finally gets on the roof of the truck and cuts his way inside.
So in this movie, do they show Claw's face a lot?
No, they never do. They do like the whole thing where it's always covered with like his hat or a mask, or they do the thing like they did in the cartoon.
Okay, perfect.
They did not do that in the first movie. I think that upset a lot of people because people are unreasonable about their cash grab movie cartoon adaptations.
Well, I mean, they really shouldn't show his face. That's like the whole premise of the movie, of the cartoon.
Yeah, it's a very different original movie, I think.
Yeah.
So Gadget finally cuts his way inside the truck. Claw then taunts Gadget about how much a better detective Penny is than he is. He then throws Penny at the back of the truck on a go-kart strapped with a bunch of bowling pin explosives.
Why are there so many things on this one truck?
And why are they all bowling pin themed?
Maybe he's decided to be like a new name. It's no longer Dr. Claw.
It's Dr. Bowling Pin?
I don't know.
It's Dr. Strike?
Yeah, there you go. That was a way better name.
The Gunner Ball. Anyway.
It sounds like a band, Dr. Strike and the Gutter Balls.
Dr. Strike and the Gutter Balls. That is a great band name, you're right.
I know. Oh, gosh.
So Gadget abandons Claw to go save Penny, cutting her out of the go-kart just before it explodes. But G2 and the Gadgetmobile show up just as the explosion goes off and mistakenly think for all of like 10 seconds that the others died. They, of course, did not.
Of course.
They all hug it out, but hey, Claw is still on the loose. Off they go after Claw again, cutting him off on a bridge. Don't ask me how they got there before Claw. The car knew a shortcut, apparently.
How come they're not trapped in time? Oh, because they got ahead of it.
Yeah. So Claw decides to ram them because all his gadgets in his car are apparently not working anymore. Who knows? But Gadget deploys a bubble gum gun that shoots gum onto the ground that traps the truck like in a trap, just in time to avoid death. Like it sticks the truck to the ground.
Sure, that's how gum works.
Sure, I believe it.
Why not?
Claw, however, escapes on a rocket that deploys from the back of the truck.
So many things in one ice cream truck.
Yeah. And blasts off into space, escapes. And given his tech budget, I don't think Claw needed to rob the reserve. I think he was fine.
Just go live in space.
Right? It doesn't make... It's like Dr. Evil. It doesn't make any sense. Penny and the G's head back to the time stop truck beam thing to try to figure out how to override it and like get past Claw's security to reverse the time stop.
It's not just an off button.
Nope. He actually password protected it.
Oh, isn't he smart?
No, because Penny guesses his password immediately, which is, quote-unquote, crime always pays.
Okay.
Anyway, time starts again for the citizens of Riverton, and we cut to the mayor awarding the G's medals at a ceremony, despite everyone having been frozen for the heroics. So how can anyone know what happened? Yeah, they know nothing. They're just like, hey, we'll take your word for it, disgruntled, fired former employee and robot we're about to shut off. Yes, you're definitely not lying to save your own skins.
Aren't there, like, cameras that picked it up even if time was stopped?
No, time stopped, man.
What about outside of the time zone? Were they ever outside of the time zone?
I do not know. Anyway, the chief also says they're doubling the gadget budget in case Claw ever comes back. And I'm like, that's how you get a bloated police budget and freaking Terminators, man. You're just making trouble. So Gadget gives a little speech about how their success is based on teamwork and that Penny is an invaluable and unrecognized member of the team and deserves this junior inspector medal. That's both crazy and nepotism.
Did they end up upgrading Gadget?
No.
Jeez.
They just left them with the swapped chips, I guess.
Well, she was better with her wonky chip anyway at managing it.
Which is, it's all insane. But they're doubling the Gadget budget, so maybe they'll fix them.
That'd be a boring Gadget 3.
Yeah, but it would be the right Gadget 3, Danielle. The Gadgetmobile, meanwhile, complained to the parking lot about being left out of the ceremony, even though all he did was sleep. So, no good for you.
Why would they award the car? The car didn't do anything.
Exactly right. The car's just complaining. As the G's walk out, G2 tells OG she underestimated him, and she looks forward to more teamwork in the future. They shake hands. Sparks fly again, and their hats light up with little hearts, and they make out for a bit while firing shit out of Gadget's hat. Cut to the credits, the end.
Well, that was a movie that exists.
Yes, that's like what I say for all of your movies, Danielle, so welcome to my world. Inspector Gadget 2, back in Gadget. I don't know.
What was it called? It just called Inspector Gadget 2?
Yeah, it's just called Inspector Gadget 2.
It doesn't have a cute little tagline in it?
I don't think so. I'll look it up. Nope, just Inspector Gadget 2.
Bummer.
Indeed. So, I hope that movie answered all your questions.
Gosh, no, it raised more questions than it answered.
It raised so many questions.
Mostly, it seemed normal until Dr. Claw's plan went into effect. And you're like, what are you doing? And where did you get all these tools from?
I'll be honest, Danielle, I was worried about doing this movie because I'm like, it's just a goofy kids movie. I'm like, even if it's weird, how much can I actually say about this? And then we got to Claw's increasingly crazy plan to yes, we are in business.
It just gets more and more convoluted. The more things he pulls out, the more it doesn't make sense.
And the less necessary, and if it becomes the more he pulls out, the less he need to do the heist in the first place. It's not like he has no resources. He apparently has infinite resources. He built a rocket to do a space escape.
They must have cut out the part where he rebranded himself as Dr. Strike. Because that'd be pretty funny.
And the gutter balls. Oh, man, that'd be great. I wish. Unfortunately not. So there you go. That's Inspector Gadget 2. If you have a kid you need to distract for, 90 minutes, you could do worse.
What a movie.
What a movie. Any follow-up questions that you were really sad did not get answered?
No. Did
you finally come to accept the dog collar?
I guess they fixed it so that he could talk.
Yeah, they just pushed the buttons until it finally got to English.
I'm glad they finally gave him a voice, I suppose.
Temporarily. They immediately took it back off because he was annoying.
That'd be terrible. As a dog, you finally I can talk to people. And they're like, just kidding.
Also, the implication that dogs are sentient is a whole other thing.
Yeah, we have lots of issues with sentience in this movie.
It is a never-ending parade of horrors of sentient things being treated terribly.
Well, and considering we have no idea how much humans in Inspector Gadget, then that also is a huge issue for sentience as well.
Of course. Well, if you out there want to give us the full backstory of Inspector Gadget and why he is the way he is, you can do so at bookretorts.com.
You can also tweet, Instagram, or Facebook us at bookretorts. There has to be some lore there that I just don't know.
I would hope so. And if you want to help fund our new band, Dr. Strike and the Gutterballs, you can do so at patreon.com/bookretorts.
It'd be a pretty good band.
I mean, not if we're in it, though.
I don't know. I'm musically inclined. I'm sure you can bring something to the table.
That's very kind of you to say, Danielle, but no, I cannot.
You could do a tambourine. You're okay with keeping a beat-ish.
Yeah. This is not the Roast Sam podcast. We're going to move on quickly from this.
Well, you've got lots of skills. It's okay.
So, until next time, please do not create sentient robots just to turn them off and torture them. Until then, bye.
Take care, everybody.
You need to rewatch Star Trek.
Do I? Because I've seen it many times in life, but I watched it all from beginning to end when I had my appendix out.
That's fair.